Hello number ones, welcome back to my channel. This is the Metatron speaking, and today we're talking about ancient Rome, but specifically when it comes to their foreign policies, border control, and their attitudes towards immigration. What sparked the idea for this topic for the video was actually a post that I found on X, where, by the way, I post 14 times a day, if you're interested to want to see, because I post like a maniac anyways. This is a post by Scott Echinger, no idea, civic rights attorney. And he responded to Homeland Security. Homeland Security said, this Thanksgiving, there is no room at the table for invaders. Pretty provocative statement by Homeland Security, I have to admit, but what does he say? Settlers didn't come legally, they arrived by conquest. You're absolutely right, we did. They invaded, displacing, killing, and dispossessing native nations. True, fair, it's also an excellent representation of every nation, every tribe, every people in the entirety of the history of mankind. And in fact, before Europeans arrived in the New World, you know what the natives were doing? Living in a utopic paradise, you say? No, they were butchering each other for territorial control and resource repossession, and that is the same thing that happened in Asia, it's the same thing that happened in Africa. Do you think it was the white man who introduced slavery to the Africans? Yeah, I might make a dedicated video to that, but anyways, it's interesting that people like him always point out when it's Europeans doing this, and as a result, they're always trying to depict this idea of the noble native. They were so nice to each other. Most likely, when European conquerors entered an area which was under the control of ex-Indian American tribe, that territory was taken by force by another tribe. Doing what? Displacing, invading, killing, and dispossessing. See, what you will find out is that Scott here hasn't got a clue when it comes to history. It will be very obvious in the next line. The idea of legal entry is a modern invention. Scott, you're a clown. Let me debunk him. So is it a modern invention, the idea of legal entry into a territory? Is it true that if we go back in time and in fact leave the modern era, was there a free flow of people of all kinds and migrants in the Middle Ages? Could everyone just enter any kingdom, any castle at that point, just enter whatever village and relocate and do whatever you want, and there are no borders, there's no legal entry? It didn't exist. And what about classical antiquity? Could people just enter Greece and their territories? What about like Alexander the Great? Ancient Egypt, could you just enter, settle wherever you want without having to ask permission to the local governing bodies and authorities? And most importantly, what about ancient Rome? Here's the truth. Ancient Rome had territorial border control and imperial admission policy for migrant tribes. Often, migrants were not accepted and kept outside by force. To achieve this, Romans used natural defenses such as rivers and mountains, the Rhine being an obvious example of that, while areas of entry were sometimes walled and always patrolled by the military. This is when it comes to preventing foreign tribes to enter or migrate into ancient imperial or republican domains. They were not allowed to do it without permission. Now, asking for permission is where we enter into full-on politics. So the actual policies, either from the Senate or from the emperor in imperial time. And of course, these policies change, not only throughout time, but also whether it be, once again, early republic, late republic, before a war, after a campaign, during farming shortages, under the Principate, during the Dominate. There is a lot that needs to be contextualized, but just to give you a broad idea, when foreign tribes of migrants would reach the borders and faced the Roman legions and asked for entry, when accepted, these tribes had to 1. Surrender their weapons, 2. Being broken up into smaller groups, 3. Be relocated to underpopulated regions at the authorities' discretion and be put to work. They also had to bend the knee to Roman authority, declare allegiance and submission to the emperor, renounce their loyalty to their leaders, and commit a certain number of fighting men to the legions. So what this means is the ancient Romans had to look at the current situation when it comes to what some people expect, particularly with illegal immigration and the idea of, we want a free flow of people. They would have strongly opposed it, and they would have thought that you were out of your mind. And to go more into the details of that, the reason why tribes were broken into small groups is because they were trying to dilute any possible rise of dissent or uniting of potential enemies of Rome, right? Because if you let a big tribe enter, and then they establish an area, I mean, how do you know that they're not going to rebel against you? So it's better to break them up in pieces so that they can't communicate effectively. Also, because remember, they speak a language you don't, right? And that's something the Roman authorities took into consideration. They thought of everything. They were trying to dilute tribal loyalty to minimize any potential risk, which was a thing, against the system. Another thing that is interesting is that people are not just allowed to enter Rome and do nothing. Absolutely not. You need to strengthen the economy. You need to contribute to society. You need to accept the culture. In fact, you need to adhere to the culture. The next generation was expected to speak Latin natively and to basically be Roman at that point. Not to mention tax revenue, my friends. Tax revenue. Also, not every tribe was treated the same. Like this idea that we need to treat everyone the same. No, the Romans absolutely understood that there were some tribes that had a higher potential of becoming enemies within the territory. And so they're like, we're not dealing with you. But then there were other tribes, like an example comes from, if you read Ammianus Marcellinus, 4th century Roman historian, he tells us about Gothic tribes. The Tervinghi, which is a type of kind of subcategory of a Gothic tribe, if you will. They were asking to enter, and in fact the Roman emperor was pleased by the request. We are talking about Eastern Roman emperors right now, but I'm just kind of looking at this at a broader sense. But the reason was always tactical. I love it, in fact I hate it, when fellow historians, what they do is that they want to depict this as, oh, you see, they were inclusive. No, they weren't inclusive. They were tactical. So in this specific case, the emperor was pleased because he needed manpower near Thrace. Now, we might not have the time to go into the details of this right now, but if you look at what happened in details, it was actually a tragedy. The river flooded some of these that were traveling, some of these tribesmen that were traveling by boat drowned. And then, even though the emperor said, yeah, accept them, unfortunately, some Roman generals didn't agree with that. And so they actually let in too many, and they didn't have enough rations to support that population. Some died because of starvation. It was actually a mess. So it wasn't a situation of, oh, the Romans are always open, let them in. No, there are so many instances where in this case it went well, in this case it did not go well, in this case they said yes, and then they figured out that was not a good idea. In this other case they say no, but then they realized, gosh, we should have let them in because of this other scenario. It is such a complex map of events that I would need an entirely dedicated video, which I'm happy to produce, but probably I'll make it on my history dedicated channel, Metatron History. So if you haven't checked that one out, I will leave a link in the description. It's this one here, 24 videos. I post a lot. It's in fact currently my fastest growing channel, where I not only upload re-edited content from the main, so the most successful videos get re-uploaded in a re-edited fashion. So then it's not a 100% re-upload. And it's great because usually people on this channel, unfortunately, you don't get the notification. So there are a lot of videos that I posted here, but the algorithm never showed. Well, this is a great place to go and check. So you can see, oh, I never saw this one. But also there are like this one here on the fire arrows is a completely original video. So original videos are also a thing on this channel, and I would strongly suggest you to check it out. This post by Scott was embarrassing to read. And yet, people say, you're absolutely right, that was what we call legal today often had roots in conquest rather than justice. Justice? What are you on about? History really does make us rethink these narratives, doesn't it? Well, when you study it, but neither of you have ever opened a freaking book, clearly. What does justice even mean in this context, Mr. Osiris? Cool surname, I'll give you that. I'll tell you what it means. It means you complain when it's Western people that take things by force, but you have no problems when it's Asians that do it. You have no problem. I'm sure you have no problems with African sovereignty of their territories, even though, once again, once you actually open a history book, you will see, oh, where these people live now, it's there because they took it by force from someone else 8 times out of 10. It's such a ridiculous bias that when the white man does it, it's bad and it's unjust. But when literally everyone else does it, it's, oh no, that's, they belong to that, they're native to that locations. Where are white people native of? Are you going to answer that? I'll be looking for it. Holden Cole says, just like every other nation in history. Exactly. I'm going to tell him because no one is saying anything. Exactly. Yes, he's correct. Just like every other nation in history. Isn't that the thing I want to say about the idea of legal entry is a modern invention? Yeah, do you know This one, you see, up to this point, we could claim that most likely this guy, when it comes to history, has no idea. But when it comes to law, he's a lawyer. So I'm sure he knows that the legal system is strongly based onto what population's legal system? Roman law. How can a lawyer, you see, this is when ideology overrides completely any academic study or preparation or classes that you've taken. It doesn't mean anything. It's forfeit at this point. He studied Roman law. Do you know how many academic credits students of law have to dedicate to learn about Roman law, which is the basis and foundation of everything that we have when it comes to our legal systems? It's unbelievable that he would say something like this. The concept of legal was already a thing in classical antiquity, sir. You know what? I've been drinking a lot of water. And I'm out of water now. This bottle is empty. You know what else I'm out of? Patience with you, because you don't subscribe. Keep watching. Never subscribe. No. What do I need to do? I drank the water. I've got soda. I don't know at this point. I'm going to change the color like I've done millions of times. Boom. Okay? I'm going to go grab another bottle of water. Could you please subscribe in the meantime? Could you subscribe? Thank you. Appreciate that. I really do. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Getting the water. Not only that, I brought you Space Marines. Are you out of your mind? And you're still not... Do whatever you want. Freedom, I guess. Excellent usage of your First Amendment. Appreciate that. Come on. Subscribe. Moreover, what seems to happen here is that people like him, they say the idea of legal entry is a modern invention. What they're trying to say is that they're trying to say that it's a bad thing. So what do you propose then, Mr. Lawyer? If we remove for a moment, let's try and live in this wonderful utopic just world where he's from, that he's imagining in his head. Okay, let's for a moment pretend that we agree with you. You know what, man? You're absolutely right. It's a modern invention and it's a wrong one. So let's remove the concept of legal entry. Now everyone can go anywhere. Ditch passports. We don't need passports anymore. If I decide to go to freaking Southeast Asia, I can just go. No borders. No one checks me. I go in. I decide to relocate and I live there for as many years as I want. I mean, the concept of legal entry is not a thing anymore. So which means illegal entry is fine. It's what you want. Now, maybe if it were me, the country I choose, because I'm a good person, the country I choose is going to be based on a country I love, right? Let's say I choose somewhere in Southeast Asia because I think, hey, this country is great. I want to learn the language. Maybe I will find someone there and can live, and be happy, enjoy their food. Great, fantastic. What happens now? I guess in that situation, the fact that there was no legal entry, no legal requirements for me to relocate and enter there, it's fine. Great. Lucky. That was a lucky dice roll for the people in Southeast Asia. Now, what happens if you instead have a person who is coming to our country, the US, but they don't come here because they love the US. They come here because they hate everything about us. They hate our ethnicity. They hate our culture. They hate our history. They hate everything about us. And they decide to come here because they want to harm us. If we remove the concept of legal entry, we don't know that. So are you going to be the one then to explain to the family or whoever this person murders that it was okay because we need to be understanding and nice? You're going to tell, you're going to speak to the parents after their child is raped? You okay with that? Are you going to do it? And before people say, yeah, but statistically it's only a small percentage. Right. I don't care if it's 1 in a million. It shouldn't happen. And it can be prevented. By what? By enforcing legal borders, which is what we've been doing for thousands of years. Not a modern invention. I don't know sometimes what annoys me the most, if it's the misrepresentation of the truth of historical events, particularly the ones that pertain to my side of the world. I don't know if that annoys me the most, or if it's the virtue signaling of someone who says, see, look at me, I am so tolerant and so inclusive to everyone. I don't want legal entry. And I hate what my people have done because I'm white and I hate myself. And I'm so nice to everyone. Yeah, you're not nice. You're not nice to the victims. I am all for being nice to the potential victims, not the perpetrators. Leave the innocents alone, but figure out a way to protect the victims from the bad apples. That's what's called a decent take. Yours, however, Scott, is an embarrassing take based on ignorance and brainwashing. But at least you're zealous aren't you? Thanks for watching. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure my ability to continue to tell it how it is, regardless of any possible backlash, please support this channel on Patreon. Any support helps me and my team of academics keep the channel strong and gives us the means to fight back against the political rewriting of history. Stand with us, form the wall, defend the truth.